Whoever said you couldn't fit a lot of stuff into an SN95 New Age Mustang? Well, this day had to come at some point. This is the last drive for the year with the Cobra. I am bringing it down to the shop, and that's where it's going to stay for this winter. I've covered videos on the mods being done and all that, so I'm not rehashing that. This is more of like, you know, what's it like putting your car away for the winter? And some people don't. I mean, they get to drive it year-round. Those are fortunate enough to live in states like Florida, Texas, California, places like that. But up here in the Northeast, you don't get that luxury as much. If you do happen to hear any clanking or rattling beyond the usual because Cobra stuff, it's because the trunk has the long tubes and the mid pipe and all that stuff in it. So it's kind of shifting around a little bit, and one of the seats is down in the back, so you can hear stuff back there pretty well. Now, before I get to the meat part of the video, I did a recent video on the mods that I planned for the winter. I laid out everything that was being planned and done at the shop. There's the possibility that everything might not get done. I had mentioned a bunch of parts that I had already bought, and everything that I have in possession, the long tubes, the 3.1 pulley, subframe connectors, you know, stuff like that. All that's definitely going on. All that stuff's, you know, scattered around the car and the trunk right now. There are a few things that I mentioned that hadn't been bought yet. Those might not happen. I can't say why at this point, but if they don't happen, it's not a bad thing. It's more of a good thing. And I really can't go into too much of an explanation on this right now. I'll know a lot more in the springtime as far as what's happening with something else. So if all that turns out well, then there'll be a few less mods for the car this winter, but it's not a bad thing. You guys will be ecstatic if it works out the way that I want it to. But if it doesn't, then forget that I ever said that, and you know, there'll be more stuff going on just a little bit later on in the spring. Now, it always is unfortunate to put a vehicle up, and people always wonder, you know, what is it like where you don't get to drive it year round? You know, theoretically, I don't drive this for half the year. It's gone from November to probably April. Late April is when you can usually start getting cars out around here. And it's like a double-edged sword because you get through the bulk of the winter and it's really, really cold. And it's been snowing like late January, February, and you're just so done with everything. You just want to get your summer car back and drive it, and you just, you know, I do miss it, I really do. But on the other end, it gives you a little bit of a break with the car. I don't put as many miles on it, that's for sure. And because of that, it's like every time I get the car back, it's almost like it's a brand new, not a brand new car to me, but another chapter with a car. Each progression gets better and better, where, you know, when I first got this car, I thought it was, I would probably put it as a sound, solid car that needed a little bit of TLC, and I've slowly been chipping away at that since I've had it. And I think with what's happening for this off season, although a lot of it, what I'm doing is going to end up being more power related, but it's still going to be better overall as far as how I want this car built, with the mindset of what I had when I, you know, first bought a Cobra. I technically could have kept the car for a few more weeks, but it gets harder and harder to drive it. When I got up this morning, I checked the temperature, it was 28 degrees out. It's substantially warmer now. It's supposed to be in the mid 50s this afternoon, so it's not terrible, but it's at the point where you can't go out and really have fun with a car like you can during the summertime, The pavement's really cold. It takes a long time for the tires to really start to warm up. And I've stated in other videos before, this does not have traction control turned on in the tune. There's no traction control with this, so if you hammer on this hard and aren't prepared for what the car is going to do, you could be in a situation that you don't really want to be in. And that's even more pronounced when you're dealing with cold pavement and cold tires. Like today that I'm driving it, it's not even worth getting on the car very hard because I know it's just going to break loose, and I'm going to be lacking a lot of the traction that I had during the summertime when I would break loose with it, but I know what the car was going to do. It was very predictable. But now with the pavement being so cold and the tires not really warming up like they would during a 70, 80 degree day outside, not really worth it. So even though the car can be driven for a few more weeks, you can't really have too much fun with it either. The other part about putting up the car for the winter that a lot of people don't understand, they don't have to do it, is you expect it every year. It's not like someone walking up to someone who has a car in Texas, California, Florida, places like that, and telling them, hey, I'm just going to take your car for 6 months unexpectedly. That would really suck, and you'll get it back in like 6.5 months, something like that. But with this, you know that when it comes out in the spring, that time never stops, and eventually that day is going to come late in the fall where it's just done and you have to put her up for the winter. I think overall it really does make me appreciate the car more. As you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder, that saying. It's kind of like this. I mean, I think this year will be even more than the other previous years because it's never actually gone away for the whole winter before. It's always gone to the shop early in the spring, and then I get it back, and that's how it's always gone. But this is the first time where I'm dropping it off for the winter, and it's gone. So when I pull in the garage, when I have my other vehicle and I get home, it's not even going to be there at all. So it's not like, oh, here it is, I just can't drive it. It's more like it's not even here at all. I am really anxious to see what this is going to do when all the mods are done and it's taken down to the dyno. It's going to be dynoed with the long tubes, 3.1 pulley, and Torco. I have a license plate frame from VMP Performance that says 700 horsepower club. I bought that in anticipation of that dyno pull because I'm so close to 700 right now that I call it 700 all the time, because the difference between 676 and 700 is minuscule. You'll never notice it. I didn't feel comfortable about putting it on until I actually had a legitimate 700 horsepower pull with the car. Now technically this car broke 700 as it sits right now on 93 octane, but it can't be driven like that. It was way too lean. So that's when a lot of the timing was poured in and it was dropped down to 676. So I couldn't really put the plate on in good conscience, so I kind of been holding off on that until I can get the dyno tune done. And when this car was dynoed, when the VMP was first put on, I wasn't able to make it, but being that this is going to be dynoed probably in late winter or very early spring, I'll be able to have it scheduled and I'll be able to go down and get it on video, so I'll be able to make a video of that. So that will be good, not just for me to see it, but for everyone too, because the only dyno video you've seen on this car has been the Eaton Supercharged with a 276 pulley, and it's quite a bit more of a beast since that's been done. I know quite a few of you that live in the Northeast or not too far from me, like state to state distance, that are going through the same thing, relatively short amount of time. I'm not sure when this video will go out, maybe a little bit later on, but they're all jumbled after this anyway as far as the timeline for when they're actually recorded and when you see it. But let me know, do you get to drive your vehicle year-round? If you do, you're very lucky, and if you don't, what are you doing to yours over the winter? Some people have quite a bit planned, other people not so much. Either way is fine. It all depends on where you are with the build for your car and what your overall plans with it are. Well, let me know in the comments. Please feel sorry for me. No, it's fine. I'll survive the long winter, and I just heard a weather report recently that it's expected to be a warmer, less snowy winter. So let's hope that happens, because I don't want to put any more oil in my tank, because I just put in 100 gallons at the very awesome price of $560. Mods not going for the Cobra because of that, or more mods that could have gone to it, but now they're not. For next year maybe. But let me know in the comments below. This is the last actual driving video. There will be a couple more throughout the winter that were pre-recorded, but this is the last one in real time. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like. If you're new here, there's a lot more Cobra stuff coming up for next year, including the big dyno pole with the Torco and the long tubes and the 3.1 VMP pulley. So you don't want to miss that. So hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. And above all else, thanks for watching.